Hi, my name is Phil Jaffe. Presenting today for our final project on my topic, which was basically arguing in favor of legalizing assisted suicide. So it's titled, Do You Own the Right to Die? Which may give you some surprising answers. So my thesis statement and then my thoughts behind it. And I more or less kind of took this from the paper directly, but humans are very complex beings with autonomy, and we are basically able to determine our own mental and physical breaking points. We know how much we can take. Lord knows I've been at my mental breaking point for a while, but we're pushing through and we're finishing school, and this is good. Um, so assisted suicide is something that should be accessible and legal, in my opinion, during times of crisis. It's not something that's just like available willy-nilly. It's got to be, you got to meet parameters, got to get with different professionals. There's all kinds of different um, thoughts and criteria that have to be met, basically. And then through research, I aim to prove that assisted suicide is a moral right that should be legally attainable with proper checkpoints and doctoral input. That's the only thing I'm really going to read off of here because that is my thesis statement. Um, so yeah, I felt like I should probably read that. So getting down into kind of the nuts and bolts of it with assisted suicide, getting to the nitty gritty of it. So assisted suicide, I guess I probably have to read this too. By definition, suicide committed by someone with assistance from another person. So that's not anything super crazy. That can be vague as anything. But in this context, it makes sense. And then there is what is a separate thing, which is physician assisted suicide. That is suicide by a patient facilitated by means such as a drug prescription, usually, or by information such as indication of a lethal dosage, so making the patient aware of it or anything along those lines, or doing the act provided by a physician aware of the patient's intent. So the physician actually assisting you in committing suicide, or not you, whoever. So what's the problem? Why do I need to write this? Well, they consider it murder. It turns out when you kill somebody else, it's frowned upon. It's illegal in over 175 countries. Not murder, well, murderers too. But it's assisted suicide is illegal in over 175 countries. It's illegal fully in more than half of the United States. And like I said, it's frowned upon by lawmakers and by law-abiding citizens. And it was a great movie, and I went to theaters to see it in 2009. I had some questionable life choices, but that one I stand by. So now picture it. Here's your scenario, your hypothetical. It's your mother, who I hope your mother is doing well. Whoever is watching this, I hope your mother's doing great. My mom is doing okay. I love her. So she's lived a great life, your mother. She has children, maybe grandchildren. There's nieces and nephews. She's got family everywhere. She loves traveling. She's been all over. She loves cooking, this and that. And she still doesn't really understand what an Instagram is or how to Facebook someone, but she's getting there. She's left a Yelp review. And 7 years ago, unfortunately, your mother, who fantastic person, was diagnosed with cancer. And it has just drained her and just absolutely debilitated her. She is worn down physically, emotionally, psychologically, every aspect. She has been getting her rear handed to her, but she's fighting. And your friends and family members have all been there for her, but we also know that something like this, a cancer diagnosis and fight, that's draining on the family members and the friends as well, because there's so much mental wear and tear with that. It's a burden that you take on. It's a poor way of wording it, but that's more or less what it is. But hey, the good thing is that cancer treatment, it's cheap, right? No, it's really, really not cheap. It costs a lot of money. I got these numbers off of a 2020 report off of National Cancer Institute online. The average annual cost for the first year after the diagnosis of cancer is over $43,000. That's not including the oral prescription drugs which are over $1,800. The time in between your first year after diag and then the ultimate end, it's about $5,500 a year, a little over, and over $1,000 in oral prescription drugs. When it gets fun for medical insurance companies or bill collectors is the year before cancer death, before you end up dying. It's on average an annual cost of over $109,000 with an additional 4,300 and change of oral prescription drugs. It adds up really quickly. And then that burden is obviously placed on the patient, whether it's your mother or whoever. And then, family members may try to help and everything, help with the bills, because it's not like you're just leaving it to them to pay. But after they pass, if they succumb to the cancer or to whatever, after they pass, those bills then go to the family members. So it just adds up and adds up and adds up. So back to her. So what do you guys do? Does she can continue fighting, face even more pain and discomfort, heavier financial burden, so increase that even more so. It's more emotional and psychological and spiritual and every kind of tool, duress for the friends, the family. There's no real clear end in sight. Really, all you have is hope, to hope that the medication and the treatment eventually lead to remission with cancer, which does that happen? Yes, absolutely. But does it always happen? No. And then, once you have different forms of, whether it's cancer in this case, but this can apply to any kind of debilitating diseases, injuries, Lou Gehrig's, Parkinson, MS, all kinds of fun activities. Um, you hope that the medication will help, but there's no guarantee of that helping. So is there another option, or is that all that you have to do is just keep trying and draining every ounce of life from yourself? I don't even have TikTok. So special mother, special solution, physician assisted suicide. I'm not saying that everybody should go, oh well, I have cancer. Well, I'm gonna go kill myself. I'm not that. When it gets to the point that it's debilitating like this, where it's you reach your breaking point, your point of no return. Physician assisted suicide is an end to that pain and suffering. It also allows the family and the friends to say goodbye and everything. It's you don't want to plan it like an event, but I mean you probably put it in your iPhone calendar. Um, it'll put a stop to that financial burden increasing. Of course, I would think it costs money to have somebody kill you, but it kind of ends there. You don't continue fighting in the drugs, and that $109,000 a year in the last year doesn't keep adding. And that kind of allows your mother to go out on her own terms to a degree. I mean, I don't think anybody picks to die from cancer, but she at least gets to decide, like, all right, I'm done now. Not like, I have no clue. I'm picking this Saturday at 12. That's her picking that. So that does mean a lot. But is it legal? The good thing for the U.S. is yes, it is illegal in quite a few states, and there's others that are working on it. So see the list there. I'm not going to read them all off. I'll highlight two of them. I live in New Jersey. I didn't even know that it was legal until I started doing the research for this. And then Washington, where I am planning to eventually move to. That plan got delayed quite a bit, but whatever. So yeah, those two are on there. That's cool. That's not why I live here or want to move there, but I mean, added perks, I guess. Internationally, though, it's it's more legal internationally than it is here somehow because everything in the U.S. has been much more recent. There are other countries where it is legal: Belgium, Australia, for the most part, Canada, Netherlands, Spain, more kind of. I'm kind of blanking right now. Luxembourg, Japan is kind of working on it. France is going off of recent comments from their president, it actually sounds like he has interest in doing that and is looking to, he's, I believe, providing framework for legalization for that, hopefully one day. Not as like an out and out, like, yep, you have cancer, you can kill yourself, but just to make it an option to a degree. They're working on it. They're early in that, but yeah. So it's gaining internationally. Now for the boring part, disclaimers. I am not saying that I want this to be just blanket. Everybody can. It's a Tuesday and I stubbed my toe. Well, I don't want to go on anymore. Not that kind of thing. You know, my girlfriend's boyfriend's cousin cheated on me with somebody from Tinder. No, no. Like, this is for like people who like need to actually escape from or get away from their life, for medical reasons. I'm not arguing it for it to be available every corner. You know, it's there's doctors, there's clinics, there's institutes, there's rules, there's guidelines, there's everything has to be met before it's even legally an option for anybody. As far as opposition, there are people who say that it goes against religious upbringing, mainly Christians. And the main argument that there is against that is basically if you believe that God granted autonomy to humans to be able to control and, you know, not just do premeditated by God steps in your life and you're actually in control, then you have autonomy, then this, you know, goes against, you know, it doesn't, that combats the argument of it going against the religious upbringing. Then there are people who believe it'll lead to a slippery slope where basically, like, you know, oh, well, we let this happen, so now everybody's going to do it, or it's going to cause this and that. It's going to have a whole effect where we legalize one thing and then, you know, you give an inch, take a mile kind of thing. But there are multiple reports out there, one of which I genuinely remember the guy's name, and I barely even read it. Well, I didn't read it that many times, but I did read it. The gentleman's name was Kant Patel. Had an almost cursed an outstanding write up on proving that argument to be inaccurate, basically using statistics from the Netherlands, where it has been legal for more than 20 years for assisted suicide to be a thing. So that they're able to determine that that is not actually true as far as a slippery slope effect because of this. So to conclude, I really liked how this flowed with colors. This took me way too long to do, but I did it for you. Assisted suicide can provide comfort to the patient, to their friends, to their family, their loved ones, everybody. My argument, again, is not for it to be common practice. It is not for everybody. I I cannot stress that enough. Like, it would be regulated. It is regulated, but it needs to stay regulated. I just want it to be a legal option more widely. We have reached double digits in countries and double digits in United States or states in the U.S. that have legalized it in one form or another. And then again, there are others that are working on it, other states, other countries that are working on it or in process. Like I said, like France, Japan, Spain has been. I think Spain is a little more advanced, but there's a couple different places and countries that are advancing. States and countries that are advancing. So we're making progress across the globe. This is good. So thank you. I am very glad to be, I think, done with school. I can't believe it. I'm 30 and this has been going on for way, way, way too long. But I'm grateful that I've made it to this point, and with closing, this.